Millionaire cries at his daughter's grave, not knowing. She's alive and watching him. He knelt on the cold marble, his hands shaking as tears soaked into the grass. The name carved into the stone was the one that had once lit up his entire world. He whispered an apology to the wind, to the silence, to a daughter he believed he had failed forever. What he didn't know was that someone stood just beyond the trees, watching. Someone very much alive. And every word he spoke would change both of their lives. Before we begin, take a moment to subscribe, like, and comment if stories of kindness and second chances touch your heart. This channel is called Kindness Tales, and your support helps us share more stories that remind us what truly matters. The man at the grave was Richard Hale, a self-made millionaire from Ohio. His name appeared on business magazines, and his face smiled from glossy covers. People admired his success, his confidence, his sharp suits. But none of them saw the quiet emptiness he carried home every night. Richard had built an empire of logistics warehouses across the Midwest. He worked endlessly, chasing deals and deadlines. He told himself it was for his family, for his daughter Lily, especially after her mother passed away when Lily was only 6. Richard promised he would give her everything. But everything turned out to be money, tutors, and expensive gifts, not time. Lily was a gentle child. She loved sketching birds and volunteering at the local animal shelter. She waited by the window some nights, hoping to see her father's car pull in early. Most nights it didn't. When Lily turned 16, she asked Richard to come to her school art show. He promised he would. That night, a last-minute investor meeting ran late. Lily stood beside her paintings alone, smiling politely as parents praised other children. She went home early, folded her drawings, and placed them in a drawer. 2 weeks later, Lily disappeared. Her car was found near a highway rest stop. There was no sign of her, no clear explanation. The police searched for months. News channels covered the story of the missing millionaire's daughter. Richard offered a large reward. He hired private investigators. He barely slept. Then 1 year later, the call came. Her body had been found during a river cleanup. Dental records suggested it was Lily. The authorities said there was no doubt. Richard felt his world collapse. He didn't question it. He couldn't. The funeral was small and quiet. Richard stood like a statue, his face hollow. He buried his daughter with words he had never spoken to her in life. "I'm sorry I was too busy," he whispered then. "I thought I had more time." After that day, Richard changed. Or rather, he unraveled. He stepped down as CEO. He stopped attending social events. He began visiting the grave every Sunday morning, rain or shine. He would sit, talk, and cry like the stone could hear him. What he didn't know was that Lily had never died. The body found in the river belonged to another young woman. A tragic error had been made. But by the time the mistake was discovered, Lily was already far away, living under a different name. Lily had been taken not by choice but by fear. The night she disappeared, Lily had stopped at the rest area to calm down after a fight with her father. She had called him, hoping he might answer. He didn't. While she sat there crying, she noticed a little boy alone, shivering beside a broken-down car. His mother was injured, stranded. Lily helped them. She stayed until help arrived. But in doing so, she crossed paths with someone dangerous. A man who noticed her vulnerability and followed her later that night. Lily escaped, but barely. She ran, terrified, into a nearby community shelter. The staff helped her hide and recover. When the news broke about the body found in the river, Lily believed it was a sign to disappear completely. She thought her father would be better off without her. Without the disappointment she believed she caused. With the help of kind strangers, Lily entered a witness protection style relocation program meant for vulnerable youth. She took a new name. She moved west. She volunteered at shelters, worked small jobs, and tried to heal. Years passed. One autumn morning, Lily returned to Ohio. She wasn't sure why. Something pulled her back. She hadn't planned to see her father. She only wanted closure. She followed him one Sunday from a distance, not knowing where he went. She watched as he walked slowly through the cemetery, carrying fresh flowers. When he stopped, Lily stopped too. She read the stone. Her name. Her heart raced. Her breath caught in her chest. She hid behind the trees as Richard fell to his knees. She heard him talk. She heard the guilt in his voice, the regret, the pain that had aged him beyond his years. "I should have listened," he sobbed. "You were kind, too kind for this world. I'm so sorry I didn't protect you." Lily covered her mouth, tears streaming down her face. For the first time, she saw her father not as the powerful man who missed everything, but as a broken human who loved deeply and had lost. She stood there for a long time, watching him grieve a daughter who stood breathing just yards away. That night Lily couldn't sleep. She replayed his words over and over. She realized something important. Her father's greatest pain came not from losing money or success, but from losing connection, from not showing kindness when it mattered most. The next morning, Lily made a decision. She wrote him a letter. It was simple. She didn't reveal everything at once. She wrote about forgiveness, about how kindness can heal wounds we think will never close. She wrote, "Sometimes the people we think are gone are closer than we imagine." She signed it, "Someone who believes in second chances." Richard received the letter 2 days later. He read it again and again. Something about it felt familiar, gentle, like Lily. Weeks later, another letter came. Then another. They spoke about small acts of kindness, about helping strangers, about listening. Richard began to change again, this time differently. He started a foundation in Lily's name, supporting shelters and runaway youth. He volunteered quietly, serving meals, listening to stories. He looked people in the eye. He learned their names. One evening at the shelter, Richard was handing out blankets when he looked up and froze. The young woman standing in front of him had Lily's eyes. They stared at each other in silence. Time seemed to stop. "Dad," she whispered. Richard dropped the blankets. His legs gave out. He cried like he had at the grave, but this time, his tears were mixed with disbelief and hope. They held each other for a long time. No words were needed at first. Later, Lily told him everything. About the night she disappeared, about the kindness of strangers who saved her, about why she stayed away. "I thought you were too busy to care," she said softly. "I was," Richard replied, "but I learned too late. Or maybe just in time." Their reunion wasn't perfect. Healing took time, but kindness became the bridge between them. Richard didn't return to chasing wealth. He chose presence. Lily forgave him, not because he was rich, but because he had learned to be kind. Today they run the foundation together, and if you ever visit that cemetery, you'll see a grave with a familiar name. But beside it there's a small plaque. It reads, "Kindness brings the lost back home," because sometimes a single act of kindness can rewrite an ending we thought was final. And sometimes love waits patiently, hoping we learn before it's too late. May this story remind you that kindness, even when delayed, still has the power to heal. Carry it with you today. Share it freely. You never know who might be watching, waiting, and ready to come home.